1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Hey screeners, welcome back to part 2 of Barbenheimer. So part 1, we were talking about Barbie. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Oppenheimer. So Brittany, do you want to tell us a little bit about the movie?
Sure. So Oppenheimer is the latest film by Christopher Nolan. The script is written from the point of view of Robert Oppenheimer. He was a physicist who basically directed the invention of the atomic bomb during World War II and for the United States. Yeah. And the movie's just basically kind of a brief story of who he is, like from his younger years into his regret. His late in life regret. So yeah, it's kind of like a biopic, but it doesn't have like that traditional like
storytelling.
Yeah, it doesn't have the traditional storytelling, and it's not a hero. It's more of like, hey, this is what it would look like if you were obsessed with science. And then boom.
Yeah. It's starring Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, and Josh Hartnett. Yeah, aging like fine wine.
I've heard rumors that he was anti-Weinstein back in the day, and that's kind of why he got snubbed for a few years.
Oh.
That he was someone who was like not going to put up with it.
He got kicked out of Hollywood.
That's what I've
Weinsteins. Heard. Yeah, because he was in all those movies by the Weinsteins. Mm-hmm. I actually worked with him on a movie.
Lucky Number 11?
No.
That's a good one.
It is a good one. But no, it was like an indie film. So this film was also written not only by Christopher Nolan, Kai Bird, and Martin Sherwin.
It's based off the book American Prometheus, Triumph and Tragedy of J. Robert Oppenheimer.
I'm guessing like Christopher Nolan had his own interpretation of the book because clearly a lot of the movie is like different plot lines.
Yeah.
Interwoven to each other, which Christopher Nolan does in his films, which is like an editing choice. Sometimes works, sometimes doesn't.
It always works for him. Everything he does is an A+. He doesn't exactly really do like dual timelines though, which he has been doing in the past couple movies.
He's like obsessed with time.
The man is obsessed with time.
He's obsessed with time, and all he has is time. It's time to make another movie. Nolan.
He's like, time's not linear.
He's like, I already made a movie. And it's like 3 years later.
Right? Like, it's been a while since you made a movie. And he's like, what's while? Time's not linear. Okay, so tell me about your theater experience seeing Oppenheimer.
So my theater experience was amazing. And I did see this film before Barbie. I wanted to watch this movie to get it out of the way. My first thought was like, I need to go to the bathroom if I'm going to be able to sit through this movie. But overall, I thought it was like really good. Mm-hmm. It's a great film. I definitely see like Oscar buzz. Amazing cinematography.
Yes.
Amazing editing. Edited by a woman.
Ooh, shout out to women.
Yeah, amazing cast. I was really surprised. I'm not a Nolan head, but I didn't think I would like it, but I liked it a lot. And I would definitely watch it again because there's a lot that I missed.
Do you want to hear something crazy?
Are you about to fart?
No. Oh my God. That would be so funny. Especially if I like did it into the microphone.
And I can be like, Brittany just dropped an atomic bomb.
Oh my God.
For y'all.
The amazing thing. Are you ready? This is going to blow your mind. Oh.
We're waiting patiently.
What? I could have sworn I heard it was the same DP for Barbie.
No. I could have told you that.
It's that Hoyt guy, though.
The guy who did Nope.
He did do Nope, yeah.
What was your movie experience?
Went to the movie also before Barbie. We had to do it on a Sunday. In the only theater, the first for Oppenheimer, because we wanted to see an IMAX, we had to go to Burbank. So we had to see Barbie at 9 p.m. Barbie was easier to get tickets for. But yeah, the movie, I was just totally in. I was like, it was so engaging from the very start. I feel like there wasn't like a minute to breathe.
Exactly.
It was such a ride for like 3 hours.
It was nonstop. Like the pacing of it was just nonstop.
It was, yeah. But it was very, 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 very fluid. A masterclass in editing.
Right. Shout out to Jennifer Lame. She's the editor on the film, so she created the masterpiece.
What else has she done?
Oh, she did Tenet.
I went to a theater. There's this whole like 70 millimeter like sub film festival. Me and Boom went, and it was both of our first time seeing it. I fucking loved it. It was funny because when we were leaving the theater, I just want you to know I'm just being quiet because I think I just saw like the best fucking movie ever made. And I was like, yes! Because I loved it too. And it was funny because I texted like Walter earlier in the day and like mentioned I was going to see it. I was like, have you seen it? Did you like it? And he goes, no, ha ha ha. I heard it's terrible. Who told you that? But then I was like, after I saw it, someone was like, oh, could you hear it? And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that was a whole thing, the audio.
Yeah.
I didn't have any issues with it, so I don't know. But it was a great, because it was an audience of people who had seen it. So they like loved it and like, but it was so much fun.
This editor also did Hereditary.
Wow.
And A Marriage Story.
That
and
is...
Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
What? Damn.
Yes. Love that for you.
Yes.
Oh, she did Frances Ha.
What?
Circling back.
Wow. Okay, it's like an onion. So the budget for Oppenheimer was 100 million. The marketing budget was 65 to 100 million. Those are estimates. Mm. And then so far, it's gross. So this is today for these episodes, you're getting the gross at the same exact time for Barbie, 1.2 billion, and Oppenheimer's at 650 million. Keeping in mind, it had a significantly less marketing budget, and it's a way longer movie, and it's not like a fun movie. You know?
Yeah.
Like, of course, everyone's going to see Barbie, but...
It's like a very serious film.
Yeah, very. When I saw the trailer, it was kind of like a biopic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah. I didn't know anything about the guy either.
Yeah, same.
I had no idea that Nolan was making another movie. The first trailer is just like a bunch of dialogue and like explosions. So I'm like, what is this? It's
black and white, and he's like putting on his top hat.
Is it?
That was the first one.
I forgot. I just remember the explosions and my birthday coming up. I was like, oh, they're making a movie for me.
And I really like Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
He's never done anything I didn't like, so. And then I heard about Florence Pugh.
Yeah. We love her.
We love her. And I was like, wow.
I didn't even know she was in this.
Oh, you didn't
until
hear that?
The premiere.
Oh, wow.
When she dressed up as the atomic bomb. I was like, wow, you go, girl.
Oh my God.
No, I think she was like my favorite in this movie.
In the same way that I think Wes Anderson's masterpiece is The Grand Budapest, but it's not my favorite Wes Anderson movie. I think Interstellar, I mean, I haven't watched Interstellar in a minute, but that movie's like, it's a lot more emotional. Like, you're in fucking space. It's crazy. So
it's
like
really cool to look at.
And like, this movie's just like, I'm so, I guess, in love with like the editing and the pacing. Like, it's just it's so fucking good. Like, the whole Robert Downey being cut with, you know, from A to B of Robert Oppenheimer's. What the hell's J for? What's his name? Julius. That's a badass name. I didn't know a lot of context to this. All I knew is that atom bomb was like one of the biggest criminal, if not the biggest criminal thing that's ever happened in modern time, or maybe ever. And so to hear about a movie being made with the person who like, I was like invented it, but technically you can't really say he invented it.
Yeah.
I didn't really know how to feel going into it, but I knew this is a Chris Nolan movie. And I had just recently watched Tenet, which was like his most criticized movie. So it was like, and I love Tenet. So I'm like, this is probably gonna be good.
The dialogue was very heavy, and it was hard for me to focus because of the like different storylines that were happening. So I could only get bits and pieces. But my favorite part out of the movie is his relationship with Florence Pugh's character, Jean.
The commie.
Yeah. Apparently, that's the conspiracy theory.
She was a communist.
Oh. See, I didn't get all of that the first
Yeah.
time watching it.
Oh, the conspiracy, I don't know if it's a conspiracy. Her suicide, and Nolan alludes to this, but her suicide might have been a murder
Yeah, exactly.
because she was an American communist who's also a psychiatrist.
Well, apparently in the flashback when you see her being drowned,
Oh, yeah.
there's a man with gloves.
Yep. Did you see that when you saw it?
No, I watched a clip of it.
I
And
noticed
I was
it.
like, whoa.
Right.
But honestly, I was like, I kind of want her story. Like, can we get a movie of her?
Right. When this strike is over, Nolan, can you make a movie about Jean starring Florence Pugh?
The real atomic bomb.
Oh my God. But yeah, she was a part of the Communist Party in the USA, so I had learned about like the weird like government, FBI, CIA being like, so anyway, when I started learning more about Freddie Hampton, the Black Panther, I think it was him, unless it was another party member, but their phones were being tapped and they were being like watched by the FBI, and the FBI, I mean, allegedly killed them. Freddie, I think. I might be getting the names mixed up, but I grew up in a home where like communism's like, you might as well say you support Hitler, like very anti-communist. And so I hadn't really learned much about it until I was older. I mean, I was like, okay, so it's like socialism, but like there's a dictator, because that's how it's always kind of ended up playing out. But technically that's how like socialism has played out. So like sometimes, but so I don't know. Anyway, so then seeing this movie and kind of getting a better point of view of like, whoa, America was like really, really anti-communist during,
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know.
they still are.
they still are 100%. I mean, it kind of goes back to when I was talking about like the paranoia with the internment camp. The thing is I don't know enough about her, but I'm sure. Well, the other thing I heard was specifically she would have been murdered because she was a distraction to Oppenheimer.
Yes.
And Oppenheimer had the greatest secret to the American.
Right.
So that makes sense that they would be like, we got to get rid of this bitch.
Right. She knows too much. Mm-hmm. But I also heard that even though they kind of allude to her mental illness
Yeah.
leading to her suicide, but apparently she was also struggling with her sexuality.
Yeah, she's bi. Yeah, there's apparently a handwritten suicide note, and she had clinical depression her whole life. She probably had bipolar, honestly. It's a 20% chance of suicide.
See, I need this movie.
Right? I know,
need
come on. Yeah, she was a commie queer legend.
What did you think of the dialogue?
I thought it was great too. I really, before I saw the movie, I saw Robert Downey Jr. at one of the premieres, and he just seemed really excited, and he was just talking on the stage really quick, and he goes, "This is the best movie I have ever been a part of, like I've ever done." And just seeing he had so much like thrill in like being a part of it and then seeing it. So I was like, and I respect him a lot as an actor because like just like learning more about him and stuff like over the years. So then like his character, as much as his character is like kind of a douche,
Yeah.
he was like so captivating. Like everything with him, it was funny because some of the moments of like comedic relief were like Robert, which you wouldn't really expect. But when like he meets Jean and she talks about how she is talking about like communism and stuff, and she goes, "No, it's against," what does she say? Don't believe in private property or ownership, that whatever they're fucking talking about. And then he like says something and she goes, no, it's this. And he goes, "Oh, my mistake. I read it in, this is a translation because I read it in the original German." Like he like said, and it's like funny as much as it was, they're talking about atoms or I don't even understand what they're talking about, but I know, but I could follow. Like I could follow the movie. I never really felt like, Florence is being casted in a Chris Nolan movie. Like this is so exciting. And then the fact that this is the movie she decided to like be naked for.
And in IMAX.
I mean, it was interesting. So I'm like, Chris Nolan's never done this. But then it was neat because he did not say her in bed. He said that like at a like out loud, I think when they actually detonated the bomb, or when it was just when he was giving that press speech or whatever. But the "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." But that scene, like, it's funny because there's like criticism. People are like, we're exploiting a woman. And I'm like, actually, it's just like a human body. Can women be naked? Can we do things and like not be criticized constantly? But also the whole thing about their relationship is like, it was really important because in real life it was a big relationship for Oppenheimer. He had proposed to her several times. They had this chaotic, probably very toxic relationship. And that scene is like, yeah, like they have sex. And then at some point they're like just sitting in chairs naked talking. And that is like what couples do.
Right.
Like you do just like sit in chairs and like talk to each other naked. Like they just had such like a bond and like a trust and like a unique relationship. And it was like, I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
It didn't like distract me from the story. Honestly, I really would have liked to see Killian.
I know we just saw his like
his legs.
Very well and like very pale, skinny. Yeah, I was sad that Florence, wasn't in the whole movie, but I also like figured she wouldn't be.
But she played the fuck out of that role. I mean, she wasn't given much, but she always plays that damaged girl with the accent, and it's like really good. It's interesting because for me, the Robert Downey Jr. stuff was what threw me off.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because his stuff was all in black and white, which...
Yeah, the timelines.
Leading up to the ending, I was like, oh, I think I need to rewatch this movie because like I didn't understand that storyline.
So he was running for high judicial position. I think the thing was he was throwing Oppenheimer under the bus for his own political gain. Hey, so you were like fucking a commie. Your friend who watched your kid, he did do things that were sus technically to the government. But he was a curious scientist. So basically that guy thought having Oppenheimer do all this was going to project his career. It didn't. And now he wants to bury Oppenheimer and advance his career. He was running for the Senate and they're shady as fuck. Mm-hmm. So he's like, I'm going to just like, but he did not like Oppenheimer because I think in the movie he alludes to like Oppenheimer hindered his relationship with Einstein.
Yeah.
Which apparently that whole like scene is like not what happened.
On the
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen all the TikToks that people do with like the audience cheering when it shows?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I'm like, what? That sound has been used for so many things.
It's so good. I love it. I fucking love it. Okay, but wait, can we talk about Einstein?
Yeah, and how kooky he is. He's like so goofy.
The casting was immaculate. You know that his last words are unknown because he spoke them in German and his nurse didn't know German.
And she was probably like, he said something like Schluckenheimer.
Yeah. What does that mean?
No, it's from Eurotrip.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Like, I know, and I'm like, fuck, man, what did he say? Did he say like what happens when we die? Like, what the fuck did he say?
Yeah.
I found out Albert Einstein was going to be in the movie. I was like, oh boy.
But he was just barely in it, and he's literally just wandering around like in the park.
Mm-hmm.
He's
just vibing.
He's here for the vibes.
Yeah. He's here for the vibes.
He's like showing up to Oppenheimer's house like, hey.
Like their big moment together, that conversation.
Yeah.
Apparently that conversation sort of happened, but it wasn't with Oppenheimer and Albert Einstein. It's definitely better it being Einstein and Oppenheimer together than anyone else. It's Einstein, dude. He's like who we perceive as like king of science.
Right. It's like Marvel Cinematic Universe when you put Einstein and Oppenheimer together.
That's Endgame.
And Iron Man.
Iron Man's all pissed. Oh my
God. He's
like,
what were you talking about over there with Einstein?
Einstein never spoke to Lewis after that. So he felt like he got snubbed. Okay, so the fucking crazy ass nonstop cast. It was like every 20 minutes it was like, here's another famous actor.
Right. Because you got Emily Blunt, and she's a drunk mess.
Oh my gosh. Katie didn't, I think it was Katie didn't know that was her.
Really?
Unless it was Boom. It was Katie or Boom, but they were like, wait, oh, that was Emily Blunt? Oh, now that you say that, okay, yeah.
Emily from Devils Wear Prada.
I was going to say, that's how I always think of her. Josh Peck.
Oh yeah, Rami Malek.
Eldon who played Han Solo. Naked Brothers band, Alex Wolff.
Yeah.
Like, so, and then like
Jack Quaid.
Who's
like, son of Dennis Quaid.
Olivia Thirlby, I really like her. She was in more recently Why the Last Man. It was like this comic or graphic novel.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
She's great. She was like the female physicist they had. Dane DeHaan. There's so many people, but I was gonna say I didn't know this until after the movie that Gary Oldman was playing the president until after I saw it.
I mean, I think when I saw him, I was like, oh, Gary Oldman is playing. He played really good.
He was so good. He was such an asshole. And he really did call him a crybaby physicist.
Anyways, speaking of nudity, that scene where Emily Blunt is like imagining them.
Oh, yeah.
That was like...
Woo.
That was really well done.
It was really
I was
well
like,
done.
how can both of them be doing that whole scene? Because that's gotta be intense.
So intense. Especially for Florence. I will say, it's like everyone's in suits in this little room and they're like, okay, Florence, come in here. She's butt naked. And you're like, okay, now just like straddle him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was great though. And I actually think like low key, Emily Blunt's character was great too because she just plays like this alcoholic, like this quiet alcoholic who like just in that frustrating position of like trying to get your husband to like be empowered, but he like...
Right. Should we talk about the
cinematography?
cinematography?
Yeah.
Those explosions. How did they do that? Like that was...
I actually just saw last night and you're not going to believe it. It's all practical.
Yeah.
Guess what it is?
Firecrackers.
So it is macro, which if you don't know, it's just like a lens. Like when you see a really nice picture of like a ladybug. Fish tank spinning water. That's some of the shots. And the sparks is like a power drill. It's like just sparks of metal.
Whoa.
But like if you see them shooting it, it's like just some dudes in a studio with like a fish tank full of water. Like it's so neat.
I mean, that's like a lot of the movies. Like they throw in random shots of like these explosions and it's like really cool, but also like building up to that moment.
Yeah, it's this foreshadowing because it's kind of early on when he's a student. And like the rain, the puddles look like the atomic bomb blast.
Actually, I think it's supposed to represent like the chain reaction.
That's what I'm saying. What do you call that? Though, wait, there is a word for it because it's like a wind pressure. I know it's not the spark. It's not like the impact.
Okay, but I also thought like it's like a chain reaction foreshadowing like nuclear war.
Right. Weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah, just individually.
I will never look at the rain the same.
They like that. It was like, and then also just the curiosity, of a scientist. And it was kind of neat too, because I was like, oh, science is pretty fucking cool. I think I'm like, was always intimidated by science and didn't bother because I'm not good at math. But it's interesting because in that movie that's said very early on that Oppenheimer's not good at math.
Yeah.
And they're like, you can still be a scientist. And I was like, damn, not today.
Let's talk about the atomic bomb scene. Just like the making of the bomb and then when they actually do the test.
I had no idea what that bomb looked like until then.
Yeah, and it looks actually different. But in the test, it's just like a giant ball.
Yeah, when they're like putting that last piece in.
I was fucking nervous though.
I know, and it's like we know what happens, but it was still, and also part of me is like, you assholes, fucking
no,
like
for real.
Like when remember he has that line where he's like kind of like, well, what's the chance that we just we end life? What does he say?
Close to zero or something.
Close to zero, and he's like, close to zero. This needs to be zero. Again, it's like in real life we know what happened, but just like really putting yourself in that perspective, and I'm like, I can't believe this happened. What did you think, like seeing it, the bomb?
The way that they did that scene was really intense. When it hits and then you get like complete silence and then you get is like Oppenheimer's like breathing sounds. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah.
And then you don't actually hear the explosion. All you're seeing is like the visuals. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
And like just to be there in person, I can't imagine, but it's really fucking scary just watching it on screen. Like I could feel like I was there. For a moment, I even thought I felt like the heat from the flames. That's how intense it was.
Damn.
And then when you hear the explosion, it's just like, bam.
I brought earplugs actually, and I put them in. Well, I just thought it was going to be really loud, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do that.
I was actually kind of scared that it was coming. I knew it was going to come, but I was like, I don't know what I'm waiting for.
Well, it's the atomic bomb. Ungodly, that fucking thing. Or godly, I guess that thing is. But yeah, I think I was like, I thought it was really neat kind of making it more submersive by like having it be silent and like, but it was also like just really like, wow, when everyone's setting up to watch. Because like Jack Quaid's like, oh no, the windshield, the UV rays can't go through it. And you're just like, dude.
I was expecting the wind.
I thought so too.
The wave like would blast the window.
I thought so too, and I thought that was going to happen. I was like, oh, he's going to get like shit in his face, but it didn't. And then I was like, oh, maybe they like literally were in a very safe distance, like a really safe distance. You know what I mean? Because they kind of like calculated.
It looked like they were really close though.
It seemed like it, but maybe the bomb's just bright as hell.
But when they did the test, the bomb didn't look that big compared to the one that actually happened.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't. Because I don't think was it the same size bomb that they dropped on,
I don't know.
it was Hiroshima and then
Nagasaki.
More people died at Hiroshima, and I don't even know if there's an actual accurate count because people were obliterated. Yeah. Even just seeing like, I was like, whoa, like when the Safdie actor, when his character's like putting on like a ton of sunscreen, and I'm like, this is crazy. Would you have watched if you were a part
Hell
of
no,
that?
I would be scared as fuck.
No, for real. That's like part of the movie that like was a big takeaway for me. Cause it's like, why would they make that their evil? That should have never happened. It should have never, I mean, it definitely should have never been dropped. I didn't know that like we were building that because the Nazis were.
Well, was it the Nazis or the Russians?
We were more concerned. America was like obsessed with like Russia during World War II. Like a lot of our focus was on Russia and a lot of, but technically I think something weird, like technically we were allies. Something really weird where I was like, what? Einstein really did send a letter to someone. I don't know if it was a scientist or who. And I think at this time Albert had already come to America, and the letter said something, and then it was like a race to create the atom bomb. I understand that existential, what the fuck are we gonna do? Just not do anything and let Nazis make an atom bomb? Right. Like what they were doing to the Romas and Jewish people and the disabled and everyone else, like, I mean, insanely heinous things. Putting people in furnaces, like ripping out their teeth because they were like valuable. Like, I mean, literally fucking crazy. So, like, to imagine them having an atom bomb. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say we're not heinous. America before we were alive.
Right.
I mean, we still are, but I'm just like, I guess, if you think about it, there really wasn't a choice. Unless we were willing to let the Nazis use an atom bomb. And, like, who's going to do that? But then the fact is, we dropped the bomb after Hitler was killed. But Japan wasn't going to, what's the word? Surrender. But that's because like culturally, they weren't gonna do that. So then America was kind of like swinging its dick and forcing Japan.
A way to put it, yeah.
But what's really interesting is learning more about Japanese citizens who wanted the war to end, and it didn't, and their government didn't end it, and it didn't listen to them, and it caused so many people, it caused such a devastation the world has never seen. Like, fuck, dude.
Okay, going back to the atomic bomb site. For some reason, I thought this was the same bomb where they did that footage of like the fake house and like where they filmed everything. Is that not?
I thought it was too.
Because I was like, oh, they're going to show like the fake models, like the mannequins and stuff. No.
Yeah, because that did happen. If it didn't happen right then, it happened later, because I think that kind of remained a bomb testing area.
Right.
We do bomb testing here. You can hear it when you're like in San Diego.
Really?
Yeah, but it's not the atomic bomb. It's like, baby bombs. It kind of sounds like a strong firework. Do you know that if sometimes when people donate their bodies to science, it goes to the military and gets blown up?
So hell no. I'm not donating my body to the government. No, they're going to just do whatever to it.
I was going to say, there are some like really crazy tests that were done. I think Japan actually did like this weird test where they replaced a guy's, during the war, like all this stuff, replaced blood with seawater. Like crazy
Ew.
tests. And the Nazis did crazy tests too. Like,
Oh, yeah, we already know that. There's this horror movie that's kind of based on that.
oh, really?
Yeah.
I think the only thing I maybe didn't like about the bomb scene was that I felt like the entire movie I was waiting for it.
Honestly, when the bomb went off, I was like, so what happens next? Now what? So my favorite scene of the movie is when Oppenheimer gives his speech, and the way that was edited too was like really good. The aftermath of the bomb, and then like all these people cheering, and then like you hear the stomping.
Because you're like
Yeah.
you're like cocooned in his like intensity.
Remember when he sees the body?
Dude. The like charcoal.
The burnt corpse on the ground, and
Oh
then
my
he
gosh.
like stepped in it. I was like, oh my God, they went there. And then he sees the burnt girl.
Yeah.
That's Nolan's daughter.
Oh,
Yeah.
hi, Daddy. So what did you think about how they... I heard criticism that there was no Japanese people in the movie.
Oh, they don't need to be in this movie.
That's what I thought. I was like, I found that it seemed more respectful. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want it to be like torture porn. I mean, not like Barefoot Jen. The scene we were just watching,
They went
like
there.
they went there. Well, because I think that was the big concern is like, are we glorifying this?
Well, at least they didn't show like the actual bomb.
Do torpedoes do that? Like make clouds? I don't really know a lot about bombs.
Isn't a torpedo like underwater?
I think you're right.
Let's quickly talk about the score. I was not expecting the score to be so epic.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and I can't get it out of my head.
I was going to say, I saw something recently that I know the composer was like really inspired by like the idea of like atoms splitting, like kind of, you know. But I think Chris said something like, and he goes, and I don't want it to be epic.
But it is.
But it is, yeah.
I think with drums and stuff, that's why.
Yes.
That's why you only hear like the violins and like this like synthesized piano.
Yeah, and then the stomping is like a percussive.
What does Oppenheimer say to Einstein at the end that we see?
Do you remember what you'd said to me about if we achieve this?
We would start a chain reaction or some shit.
And then he goes, we did it.
Yeah.
And
And then it just ends with like the shot of him looking at the water. I don't know if it's like, I mean, it's probably CGI, but like the fucking earth like burning and shit.
No, Chris Nolan did that. No, yeah, this kind of his imagination again and just seeing like, oh.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was pretty neat to kind of show his pivot into like his dedication treaties, and we all are obviously gonna have this like superpower, but like we need to like agree to like not use this because we're gonna end the earth. Oh my God, wait, hold on. Did you recognize the guy he like makes friends with, and like they're in the train and the guy makes a comment like they don't really like guys like us because they're Jewish. It's like his Jewish friend who's like from New York. But anyway, that actor is the main like elf in the Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, this guy's got the wildest career. He looks so different.
I know.
Like he really looks like some like old school New Yorker, like scientist. Where like he was just this elf.
Yeah.
The main guy interrogating him the whole time, I was like, fuck you, man. I hate you.
Jason Clarke.
Yeah.
The actor.
He did a great job being unlikable.
I feel like he plays that character a lot.
If you think about even the position that Oppenheimer was in, it was like he had been recruited to basically save the world in like America's perspective. He basically had to sacrifice his all ethics and his children, but like also I'm sure he didn't care about them. Low-key, Einstein kind of did the same thing. And then you're in this position where like wrongfully accused of being like this other, and you're just like, damn dude, like chill.
Right.
What do you want from me? I built
Take
this
a
bomb
chill
for
pill. Not gonna lie, I was like, let's wrap this movie up. Let's go. Because I already saw the bomb. I don't need to see anymore.
We got it.
I was like, okay, there's like still an hour left of this movie.
Shut up. That was an hour?
And then they're like finally wrapping it up because like Oppenheimer is like now old.
And like showing that whole sequence of things that Einstein was like,
Yeah.
by the way, this is what's going to happen to you.
Yeah. And then Robert Downey Jr. kind of being like paranoid because whatever conversation was happening between Einstein and Oppenheimer. I was like, okay, whatever. So you're mad.
You feel left out. You got the FOMO.
Yeah. I'm like, we get it. You're just jealous because you didn't make the atomic bomb.
And it's funny because it kind of plays out like he's like, are you talking about me?
Yeah.
It's like, no.
That's what I thought the whole plot line for his story was because his plot line is Oppenheimer was talking shit about me to Einstein. That's why I'm mad.
He like really resented Oppenheimer because of like the Albert Einstein stuff. Albert Einstein saying that him and Oppenheimer, that didn't happen that way or anything.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know exactly how things went down, but he did meet Strauss and they did end up, having a weird falling out, and he was like trying to sabotage him and stuff.
Yeah, I was like, I'm over it. I was like, wow, what a great movie. Okay, time to go.
I've been here for 3 hours. Yeah, I thought it was a good ending because it was sort of like, how do you wrap this up?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, okay, so crisis of character he's having and this like so much regret, and then like what he tried doing in his like, I mean, he did achieve things, but when his wife won't shake that guy's hand is like the most epic part of the movie. She's just like she's playing Emily from he's like, I saw you in The Devil Wears Prada. I want that right now. My final thoughts are, I think it's his masterpiece. I'd be shocked if he could like as far as filmmaking goes, like the craft of telling a story. It's a 5 out of 5. It's a full bloomin' onion.
Wow. I was pretty close. I give it a 4.5 out of 5 onions.
A leftover bloomin' onion?
Oh God, no.
Reheated.
Oh my God. Yeah, my final thoughts on this film, it really surprised me. I think this was one of Nolan's best movies. I would put it like top tier. Well, that's the episode. Brittany, where can we find you?
You can find me at humble_book_review.
And you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at somecallme_Ricky. And if you liked this episode, you can find us on Instagram and YouTube at Paper Screen Podcast. So smash that like button, hit us up, let us know what you think. Until next time, bye.